Hello, this is a brief video going over the extra grammar and language practice on your study guide. At the top here, we have Latin roots, and I won't spend too much time on these because you're going to find most of what you need on this Latin root practice example copy that I have up here. But just as a reminder, the root splend, S-P-L-E-N-D, means magnificent or grand, bright and shining. The root dur means hard, strong, lasting, and harsh. And the root temp, T-E-M-P, means time, moderation, and calmness. So those are your three Latin roots to know for the final. Moving down here, we have commas, and I'll spend a little more time on these. As a reminder, if you want to see what the comma rules are again, I have that linked up here. However, you should know that I won't actually ask you to identify specific comma rules on the unit final. It's just a really great way to make sure that you understand where the comma should go. But here are your example sentences, and here are where your commas should be. You should have a comma after husband in this first sentence, a comma after son, and a comma after daughter-in-law. Oh, I did that incorrectly. There we go. So your final sentence is, my estate goes to my husband, comma, son, comma, daughter-in-law, comma, and nephew. And I do it that way because this is a list. So this would be your fourth rule. Second sentence, he is a strong, healthy man. I should have a comma after strong because here I have two adjectives in a row, strong and healthy. So that's rule 5. I need to separate those with a comma. He walked all the way home and he shut the door. This one is going to have a comma after home. It's rule 1. I have a conjunction here, and so I need to have a comma before it. Next one, having finally arrived in town, we went shopping. I need a comma after town. And this is because of rule 2. I am starting this with an introductory phrase. It's a dependent clause, so I need a comma after it. Next sentence, Jill, who is my sister, shut the door. I need 2 commas in this sentence. I need one after Jill, and I need one after sister. And the reason why is because this is rule 3. I have an interrupting phrase in the middle of the sentence, so I need commas to introduce the phrase and to end it. No, you can't have a dollar. This is your next sentence example, and you should have a comma after no. This is because no is an introductory word. So it again goes along with rule 2, just like this sentence does. But I just have a word introducing the sentence instead of a phrase. Next one, I'm from the Akron, Ohio area. I should have a comma after Akron because this is a location. It goes along with rule 8. Where you have specific rules regarding where commas go with dates, addresses, and locations. And finally, he said, I don't care. This is an example of using commas with quotations. I need one after said in this case. Usually if you have just regular text introducing a quotation that's coming next, you need some sort of punctuation, such as a comma, before the rest of the quotation starts. So those are your comma examples. And again, all of those comma rules are listed right up here if you didn't remember the ones that I was talking about just now. Section 3, you are looking at compound nouns. And if you forgot what these are, this is when you have 2 distinct separate nouns and then you put them together into one compound noun that represents one thing or one idea. And you can do this in several ways. You can have closed compound nouns, which just means that there is no space at all between the 2 nouns that you put together. They become one word with nothing in between. Open compound nouns are the opposite. So they are 2 words that go together to mean one thing, but you still keep the space between the words. And finally, you can also hyphenate between those 2 words. You can have hyphenated compound nouns. But I have 2 of each in this following passage down here. So I'll point out where those are. Here's your first sentence. I needed lots of things at the grocery store this morning. I do have a compound noun in that first sentence. It is grocery store, because grocery and store are both separate words, but when I put them together, they also mean one specific noun. This one is going to be open though, because I still have a space between grocery and store. So I'm going to make that green. Next sentence. First, I got some toothpaste and a hairbrush. I also have 2 compound nouns in this sentence, and both of them are closed. Toothpaste is closed, but it is a compound noun because tooth and paste are both their own words. But when I put them together, they also mean an entirely different noun. And same with hairbrush. That's also going to be a closed compound noun. There's no space between the 2 words, but when I put them together, they create a whole separate noun. Then I picked up ginger ale and some apples. I have one compound noun in here, and it's ginger ale. This is another open compound noun because there's a space between the two words, so I'll make it green. And here's my final sentence. I saw my mother-in-law in aisle 2, which was a surprise. It was very out of the blue. You're going to notice there are a couple hyphenated compound nouns in here. Mother-in-law is a hyphenated compound noun, and putting all of those words together to mean a separate idea. And same with out of the blue. So I'm also going to make that blue. So those are your examples of compound nouns. Again, you got 3 types there. And if you want more information about those, up here, I linked the presentation I showed you guys last week, special types of nouns presentation. So that is there if you want to see more examples. And finally, you have noun clauses. And if you remember, this is when you have a full phrase that stands in place of a single idea or a single noun. On the presentation up there that I was just showing you, I give you several examples of words that typically start noun clauses. But some examples that you could have listed here are that, that's a common one. You could have how or how much. You could have who, you could have what. Those are just a few. There are many others as well. I'd recommend looking at that presentation if you want more examples. But I also gave you some examples of sentences that use noun clauses down here. So here's what you should have highlighted in these. First one, I know that patience has its limits. That patience has its limits is your noun clause. Reason why is because it represents one idea. It represents the thing that you know. What I say is true. That is the next one. What I say is your noun clause. It's representing one idea. It's representing the thing that you said. I saw how the accident happened. Your noun clause is how the accident happened. It is the thing that you saw. It represents one idea. I know who said that. Your noun clause is going to be who said that. So I'm going to make that yellow. It's the thing that you know. It's one thing. I will give what you said some thought. This one actually has the noun clause in the middle. It's what you said. It's explaining what you were giving thought to, the thing that you were giving thought to. Ask your friend what they want for dinner. This one's going to be what you want for dinner. The thing that you were asking your friend is what they want for dinner. And finally, that he believes his own story is remarkable. My noun clause here is that he believes his own story because I'm explaining the thing that is remarkable in this sentence. So those are your examples of noun clauses. Again, if you want more examples of those, I would highly recommend going up to this link here, special types of noun presentation. And that also has the list again of words that typically start noun clauses. But that is all I have for you for grammar. I just thought I'd make a video going over this since there's a lot of information in this box. But if you have other questions about these or want more practice, just let me know. I can send that your way.